guys, in this lesson I'm going to go through 10 must-know guitar tips / bits of advice that will really help you out when you're playing. The first one, and most important one, is to use your ears. Music's all about listening. The best guitar players, the Hendrix, Eric Claptons, they didn't have YouTube videos or tabs to learn guitar. They learnt by listening to blues players and working out themselves how to play. And you really need to do that. Practice all your ear training techniques, or you can get apps on your phone. If you have private lessons with me, that's the kind of stuff we'll be doing. And eventually, it'll take a while. I've been playing years and I'm still not, I don't think you'll ever be perfect at just listening to a song and play it. I think 90% of the time I can listen to it and work it out myself. But it does take a while, but it's definitely worth it. To be able to listen to the radio and by the end of the song being able to play that song is definitely a skill worth having. So work at that, that's really important. The next tip is to do your posture. When you're playing guitar, don't crane your neck over and don't hunch over. Make sure you sit up straight. You don't want to cause yourself permanent damage just from having poor posture when playing guitar. I was really bad for it. I used to crane my neck over. I used to have like tabs and chords next to me and books, and I used to twist and look at that, and it was like, it really hurt after a while. So make sure you sit right up straight. If you're struggling to see the notes, get a mirror and put it in front of you, and then you'll be able to see what you're doing and sit up straight. Eventually you should be able to play the guitar without looking, but make sure you don't do any damage whilst you're learning. Especially make sure you don't crane your neck over, because if you do get neck problems, it's going to cost you loads in physio bills and time off work, so be careful. Next is keep your fingernails on your fretting hand. If you're playing right-handed guitar, but your left hand, keep your fingernails quite short. Because when you're playing the guitar, you're pushing down on the wood. If you've got long fingernails, you're going to damage the wood and hurt yourself. So it could be pretty painful, so keep them short. Next one is practice everything slowly. It's really important. So many people just rush in and want to play everything fast straight away. With anything, any kind of sports scale, any instrument, it's not like that. You have to start slow, break it down into chunks, and then build it up slowly. Once you master each chunk slowly, forgetting how to talk, then you can build it up slowly until you can play it fast. I'd much rather you start off slow and play everything perfect in time, all the notes ringing out properly, than start fast and just being absolute shoddy, making mistakes everywhere, developing bad habits. So practice slowly, really important. Next one is when you're playing any notes on the guitar, make sure you're using the tips of your fingers. When you start off, your fingers will be quite soft because you never ever really use them for pressing down on wood and metal all the time before. So when you press down, they'll kind of spread over the string and touch other strings, which is quite annoying when you try and play chords because notes won't ring out properly. So what you need to do, use the tips of your finger and make sure the palm of your hand never touches the neck. So you need to leave space in behind your hands so you can move your fingers about and move them and touch different strings without causing havoc elsewhere. So another point with that is make sure you're playing each note really close to a little bit of fret wire. If you don't know what that is, it's just a little bit of metal separating the frets. If you don't know what frets are, check out my lesson on parts of the guitar, that'll help you. And make sure you're playing close to the fret wire, closest to the body. So I'll go through it more if you look on lessons to do with chords and notes, and it's a good bit of advice. A lot of people will play the note right in the middle of the fretbox and get quite a rubbishy sounding note out of it. So yeah. Next bit is to do with learning anything, and challenge yourself every day. Make sure you're learning something new every day. Make sure you're always going towards something more difficult. So if your pop music's dead easy for you, move on to some maybe classical fingerstyle pieces or something like that, or whatever is more difficult than what you're already doing. And you'll learn skills in different genres of music that you would never come across if you just stick to one genre, and you can transfer those skills and use them in different ways, and that's how you be creative with music and develop new sounds, which is a really good skill to be working on. You need to make a practice schedule and stick to it, and that's to do with setting aside maybe 15 minutes and do strict practice. Plan what you want to do and do it, otherwise you won't progress if you're just dotting about, learning different things, never remembering them. Always log what you're doing as well, and then you'll know what you've done, what you need to practice, where you're going with it. It's a much better way of learning than just winging it, pretty much. And learn the difference between practice and playing. Practicing is where you're doing something that you couldn't already do, and you have to go slowly, you have to take your time with it, you're actually challenging yourself. Playing is something you can already do, you're just jamming away and it's easy. You're not really progressing when you're playing, so make sure you set aside time for practicing and playing and stick to it. The next point is really important because timing is really, really important in music. And get a metronome or some kind of click track or drum track to practice with, and you can set the tempo, start off slow as always, and then you can play along in time. And when you get into a band, the last point is get into a band, you have to be in time. You have to be in time with the drum, you have to be in time with the singer, otherwise it's going to sound pretty terrible. So when you're in a band, you have to be in time. So using a metronome to practice will keep you in time better, hopefully, if you've done it right. Another couple of points with being in a band, it's like a collaborative process. So what you're doing when you're in a band is you're jamming with other people, you're bouncing ideas off each other, which is good. That's what music should be like. Another point is when you get into a band, especially if you have to go to an audition, you'll get given some songs to learn, and it's a really good way to force yourself to practice. So if you're given like 5 songs to learn, you'll have to learn them. Especially if you're in like a covers band, you'll have to learn the note perfect, which is a really good practice exercise. So I hope you keep all these in mind as you're progressing with the guitar, and hopefully you'll get to where you want to be quicker. So see you all in your next lesson, and if you like what I do, please subscribe, otherwise no one will ever watch what I'm doing and it'll make me sad.